All right, welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is Heal. I know it says Heal Console Edition because, well, that's because the Galax will be reviewing the Switch, but it does have a PC version just called Heal. Um, anyway, um, this is a experimental adventure game from the creator of the Distraint series, both of which we have reviewed on this program previously. And I believe both of those were covered by the Goblins. So he will presumably be able to bring his experiences with those games to this. Um, though this is a vastly different set of themes to be exploring because this is about aging and dementia. The narrative is driven by a strong and obscure atmosphere. Okay, that's not really a word you use with atmosphere. With instructions and dialogue used only sparingly. Wake up from a dreamless sleep, explore the mysteries of your surroundings, and solve puzzles. So, take it away, Galax.
I hadn't gotten to this dementia, but that makes sense. It's certainly there's loss of presumably a wife. It's very much a puzzle-focused adventure game. It's quite short. There are only 7 stages, and the 7th stage barely has puzzles. It saves after each one, and on the non-console versions, there are some... what's the word? There are some achievements that involve going back to play it, but the console version doesn't really have those.
Well, the Switch version.
The Switch version doesn't, sorry. The console version that I reviewed. Presumably the Xbox and PlayStation ones do.
Yeah, I mean, it's from Rod of Life, yeah, so there's probably achievement guides. Like, that's kind of one of the reasons people get Rod of Life games. Easy achievements. Like on PlayStation, easy fucking platinums.
Petty, do you remember the things you've seen so far?
No.
Red 220, blue 35. Red 220 through the door, blue 35. That's kind of a thing that most of the areas for this have. Since it's a game that basically has no text outside of the puzzles, you don't have the green value yet, but that's what you have so far. It's spooky themed, so that you get stuff like this, where sometimes when your character's hidden from view, you can enter a creepy eye mode where you see like hallucinations and stuff. But yeah, generally you are in an area, you're solving a couple of puzzles for which the prize for solution is information used to solve a further puzzle that added together adds to the next area. None of the puzzles are particularly amazingly hard, although there are a couple that take a little bit to get, I think. I did use a guide once near the end where I was having trouble figuring out what order you had to do things in.
Okay.
You want to start from the outside, Petty.
I see it.
I'm just going to turn into another installment of...
Well, I've already done these, so I don't want to... And we won't get too far, obviously. It has a very sort of combination melancholy and spooky atmosphere. So did you see what the numbers on that were? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, combination of a melancholy and spooky atmosphere. It's very slow paced. You can't go fast if you try, really. Thankfully, there's one stage that's very long, and there are shortcuts for walking back and forth in it because otherwise old man walks with a cane. And that is otherwise quite slow. And the overarching theme involves memories, and there's a thing with his images of presumably his wife playing the piano. There are piano puzzles, but the puzzle on the piano puzzles is literally watch what the piano, play the note that it says. Like, it tells you what note to play by letter, and the keys are labeled by letter. I honestly, the Switch version, I want to say the touch controls are better for a lot of the puzzles, but you'll want a precise input tool for that. Compared to, because there's things like the first puzzle that involved pulling on screws. There's sometimes click and drag puzzles that you need to be fairly precise for. You can do it with the sticks and buttons. There aren't any stupid controls. Like all of the buttons that I tried to use worked properly for that, I think. There's not really anything in the way of options, and it's kind of hilarious that there are so many language options because there absolutely is basically no text in this game outside of some of the puzzles, like the RGB is labeled in here, or the R is labeled there. Almost everything is with symbols. So that right there, since we started talking, Petty Fan has beaten about 1/6 of the game. Some of the later ones are longer, but that's about it. It's all just walk through the stages. When you get a button to interact with something, interact with it. And if you can't solve a puzzle, don't worry too much. You probably need to do something else to interact with that puzzle first. The music helps with the melancholy and creepy feeling. The signature piano melodies are pretty simple. I don't know if that's really even worth mentioning, but yeah. Overall, it's creepy and melancholy. It's not what you'd call a fun game, really, but it's an experience that I think is worth having.
Okay.
So yeah, you see what it's doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you skipped over the thing that the 4-digit numbers are for. It's the which is actually one of the two things that you have to replay the game for a trophy for. Because the phone in stage 2 you can enter 4-digit numbers, and there are 3 correct 4-digit numbers, but then also at the very end of the game you get an additional 4-digit number, and you have to go back and enter that number, and it's just the achievement is called wrong number. So if you look at this one, these ones, the purple numbers tell you an order, and the green numbers tell you what numbers to put in.
All right.
I think the puzzles are fairly clever,
Right.
but they're not like hard per se.
Right.
So yeah, overall, what's the damage price wise?
So this runs $7 on all systems. The Steam version is packed in with the Essentials bundle, which is this game and the 2 Distraints titles bundled together for $17.82.
Well, those were also good games, so that's probably worth it to somewhat.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I suppose the question here is, does this game justify a $7 price tag?
It's maybe a little short for that, but it's not too bad. I certainly a little bit on sale would be great, but even I don't think $7 is bad.
Okay, fair enough.
This game does do a lot if you have to hold the thing.
Yeah, I think it's got better art than the Distraint games.
It's interesting because the art is in some ways realistic, but in some ways kind of cut out.
Right. Anyway, anything else on Heal?
Not really. For this one, when you have to start turning it the other direction after the third one.
Oh.
Yeah, I figured that. I just went too far.
And generally, it's nice that when you get the puzzle solutions and they're a reference that you need to enter somewhere else, the number is visible on the main screen. Only for a few of them do you have to actually go back into the puzzle to get the information again. With the exception of when you're looking for cracks in the doors.
Right.
Because obviously you can only see those when you're looking through the crack.
Anyway, so that'll about do it for Heal. Be sure to tune in after the break as Twilight will be reviewing Hike Jam.